everyone, this is Anna from Savicat Realty, and today I'm here to talk to you about the city of Torres Vedras. But before we start, for those of you who don't know, my name is Ana Caramujo and I'm the owner of Savicat Realty. Savicat Realty is a relocation and investment agency that helps expats move to Portugal in a sustainable lifestyle way. So basically, we talk to you and figure out what are your own personal needs and goals on your move, and help you figure out the best location for you in the whole of Portugal, and also make sure that you make a good deal with no surprises. So we work with both rentals and purchase, and help you do the consulting and figuring out the location, and then all of the bureaucracy and paperwork. We handle all of that for you. So if that is something that makes sense for you, do check out our services in www.savicatrrealty.com, where everything is listed transparently. So, going into today's video, it is about Torres Vedras, which is a city in the center of Portugal, and it's between Caldas da Rainha and Lisboa. It's about 45 minutes drives from Lisboa. It can be anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes, depending, of course, on the roads you use and the traffic, and whether or not you are going by national road. You can go by highway or you can go by national road through Mafra. And the difference is actually not that big. If you're not in a hurry, it will be something like 7 to 10 minutes difference. Once again, depending on traffic, it can be a bit more. But overall, it's not a huge saving on the highway. The highway does have a cost. It's not very high. I cannot give you the right exact amount of the toll, but it's something around €3, if I'm not mistaken. And it's also close to Ericeira and Mafra. So from Mafra to Torres Vedras, it's only about 20 minutes or so. So it is a very interesting location with very high accessibility, and it also has a very good transport network to Lisbon. It has both a bus line that actually provides monthly passes, as it is very common for people to live in Torres Vedras and work in Lisbon. So the monthly passes are actually about €40, which is extremely affordable, and about the same amount that you pay for the transportation passes in Lisbon itself. And there's also a train line, although the trains in this area are not the thing I recommend the most, so I kind of lean towards buses on this thing. So, Torres Vedras is very interesting because, of course, the location is extremely convenient and close to Lisbon, but given its proximity to Lisbon, it still is quite affordable. So, looking at Idealista prices, the average on Idealista, the current average in August 2025, is coming at €2,038 per square meter on Torres Vedras itself. Idealista is considering the whole concelho, so we have the municipality and then the parishes within the municipality, and this is the average for the whole municipality, but the average for the parish of Torres Vedras is actually not that different. It was €2,041, so it was like only €3 higher. However, I also did look at the numbers on our system in Casa Fari, and those are a bit different, and it's interesting to look. There are a lot more apartments available in Torres Vedras than moradias. I would say moradias, villas, are a lot less common, and it's a much more apartment-heavy area. And the apartments are coming at €2,353 per square meter, average of the past year on my own MLS system. That is only accessible for people with licenses. And it's coming, this system, it differentiates between villas and apartments. So the apartments are coming at the 2,353, and the villas are coming at €1,766 for the average of the last 12 months. And I also researched regarding new builds. So for new builds, the apartments are coming at 3,031 euros per square meter, and the villas at 2,043 euros per square meter, which is quite interesting. You can see here it more or less would correspond to the difference in prices that you expect of this kind of difference in conditions. So new apartment is always slightly higher, and this is about the case, so about 30% higher than the used buildings are. And Torres Vedras, given this, is still very affordable for a city in less than an hour drive from Lisbon, where the prices are often rounding the 5,000 euros per square meter in the city center, and in areas that are extremely high demand, like Avenidas Novas, they can go up to 10,000 euros per square meter. So having average prices at around 2,000 euros per square meter in the Lisbon area is extremely interesting. And Torres Vedras is also a very, very pleasant city. So it kind of has two main areas. It has the historical center that has these smaller streets, and there's a lot of commerce, a lot of esplanadas, little small restaurants, and it's very pleasant to walk in. This season is very hot though, but that's general in Portugal. Like it's 35 degrees in Porto today, and it was about that same temperature when I went to film Torres Vedras. So it can get a lot. But you also have quite a bit of parks and green areas, and it's the typical Portuguese cities where you will find a lot of churches and some monuments. One of the things about Torres Vedras is, like I was saying, the historical center and the newer parts of the city that started growing around it have very different vibes to it. So the historical center is the typical small houses. There's the castle on top of the hill, and there's even these streets where there's stairs and no roads. Although you can go to the castle by car, there's also a walking side that goes by the side of many houses that is stairs. And from the top of the castle, you are able to see the whole of the city. And you can see that is a city in expansion. It has a commercial area with most of the supermarkets and the nice, the usual stores like Decathlon and Leroy Merlin, the typical industrial stores that you tend to find in most cities. And then you also have these newer apartment areas. Like I said, most of the expansion has been apartments. There's not as many villa areas in Torres Vedras. And you can see quite a bit of distinction. It's like, I would say, three areas of the city. There's the historical center, that is the typical small roads and low builds. And then you have the immediate after the 80s construction expansion. And in the middle, you also have some newer builds, and the city is perfectly walkable. I would say that you are able to walk almost everywhere in half an hour. There's also schools and all of the needs that you have. There's a school, there's a court, there's the police, the firefighters. So you basically have all the necessary services. There's this huge park that is very pleasant. It also has a public hospital and a private hospital. There's actually two private hospitals and a public hospital. And when I was living in Caldas, or when I'm staying long-term in Caldas, if there are some medical emergency that I have, I generally come to Torres Vedras, that is less than a half an hour drive from Caldas. And there's the Hospital da Luz in Torres Vedras, which is a big private hospital and a fairly modern one, and also the newer modern neighborhood in that area. And it was curious because, like I said, I did come to this hospital fairly often Not often, but I did come like 3 or 4 times while I was staying in college. And since I went specifically to the hospital, I didn't really have the energy to explore the city when you were having a medical situation, right? So I had a very different idea of the city because I only saw that 2000s, 80s, 2000s, and more modern construction side. I haven't went to the historical side before, and it's a very different kind of vibe, and it's very interesting because in the end they're actually very close together to one another. And even from the castle to even some modern builds in the park area, it's like 20 minutes walk, so everything is super close by and it's very pleasant. And I even had a meeting at a cafe downtown, and they had great cakes and tea, which is my thing. So I would say it's an extremely pleasant city to live in, close to Lisbon. And knowing the surroundings of Lisbon, I do very highly recommend it because personally I enjoy it more than Setúbal. I do think it has a lot of parallels with Setúbal, the difference being it's not a coastal or riverside city, so you do not have a water body directly next to it, but you are fairly close to the Ericeira. So if you want to go to the beach, you can drive to Ericeira, and it's going to be about 20 minutes, 30 minutes tops, so it's quite accessible. And the city itself, it's quite pleasant, and I feel that the urban planning was done a lot better than Setúbal. That tends to be one of my biggest criticisms on Setúbal, is that the urban planning there is a bit chaotic. And I did not have that sensation in Torres Vedras at all. It does have kind of these different areas, like I said, the historical center, then the 80s, 90s expansion, and then the more modern expansion. But it's not all over the place. There are kind of separated areas that don't clash with each other too much. So it ends up being quite pleasant still. And like I said, even if you are looking for a more modern house near Lisbon, it can be a really great price quality here, with still a lot of proximity to Lisbon. And even to go to the airport, I would say 45 minutes, maybe consider an hour with traffic, but it's still quite convenient, and you do have transportation, like I was saying. So I would say it's definitely a location to look for in the surroundings of Lisbon. Probably one of the that I would most highly recommend if you are looking to live in the suburbs of Lisbon. There is a number of other suburbs of Lisbon, but I do feel like this one has a very good quality of life price relation. And it's definitely still at the beginning of the rising trend. So of course, especially in the cities surrounding the capitals, as the capital price rises, people start going outside of it, and the prices outside tend to rise. And that already happened very drastically in Setúbal. The prices went like this in the past 5 years. And I would say that Torres Vedras is still somewhere here in the curve, while Setúbal will already be somewhere more like here, and Lisbon is already like at the top, kind of stabilized the prices because it's not sustainable to rise any further. So yes, I would definitely say it's a great location to look at and a great investment too. So if Torres Vedras is sounding interesting to you, do check it out. There's also a number of interesting natural areas around it. There is some monuments, actually. I did check out some of them, and some small rivers and cascatas, so small waterfalls. They are not the best accesses, and the monuments are also not the best preserved. I did mention about that going to the top of the castle and being able to see the whole city from there. The castle itself, it's basically just the walls, and you can just go to the top. There's like a small store there, and you can go to the top of it to see the city all around, and it's a very interesting perspective. But the castle is free. You can just go in because there's not much to see. And I would say that's kind of the downside here, is that the monuments were not highly invested in at all. But that's the case in a lot of places in Portugal, to be honest, and they do have the basic preservation. So I hope you enjoyed this video about Torres Vedras. I would love to hear if you already been there, what's your opinion of it, what's your opinion on other up-and-coming suburbs of Lisbon. It's not technically a suburb of Lisbon, but you know, for most people it's within 40-45 minutes drive. It's very close to Lisbon. So we are here every week. If you find this kind of information about Portugal useful, do subscribe to the channel. And you can also check a lot of free information on our blog in www.savvycatrealty.com. And if you are considering Torres Vedras or any other location in Portugal and you would like some local guidance, we are here for you. You can reach out to us in our website or directly at contact@savvycatrealty.com. So I hope this was useful, and I hope that I see you all next week. Bye!